It's Friday, April 30th, and the time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Former LIAT workers have penned a letter to Prime Minister Mia Mottley requesting a meeting to discuss their plight. Word of this from Neil Cave, the spokesperson for the 55 Barbadian former workers, who have now gone 393 days without being paid monies owed to them. Cave said the situation had become so dire, it has led to at least one person attempting suicide and others struggling with depression, while persons have lost their homes and the ability to support themselves. He made the disclosure at an emotional press conference held yesterday, where the workers pleaded for financial assistance from government to help them to get their lives back on track.
We've written again to the Prime Minister days ago, pleading for some assistance and pleading for justice where this is concerned. We don't have anywhere else to turn, basically. And it's a situation that, if not fixed soon, if something doesn't happen soon, the destruction that is caused to the former workers of LIAT who served this region so diligently, it will be irreparable, I believe, and it already is in some cases. So we are asking and pleading and begging and urging our government to come to our aid and come to our aid very, very shortly, because it is a very critical situation. We're going to wait. Hopefully we'll hear something back this week and just get some kind of idea as to really when this nightmare is going to end. So we haven't put any time frame. I don't think that that's certainly the right thing to do when you're dealing with the office of the Prime Minister, but we are hopeful that we will hear something. We've been in silence for a year. We've been pleading. We want to know what's going on, and what we've been told, nothing has materialized, which leads me right down to the Attorney General's promise, based on the discussion with the leader of the opposition in Parliament, that an ex gratia payment would come. And again, we're grateful for the comments in Parliament, but we haven't heard any further about that.
The Central Bank of Barbados has yet to assess the cost of government's last COVID-19 lockdown. However, Governor Cleviston Haynes is certain the economy cannot bear many more of these disruptions. And with the approaching 2021 hurricane season, which experts warn will be active, Haynes said that there was only so much that a small open economy like Barbados's could sustain.
We do believe that the economy has buffers to be able to withstand the shocks, but if you keep getting beaten up, eventually those buffers are eroded. So from our perspective, clearly that is not something that we would want to see. We do recognize that we are approaching the hurricane season. One does not want to see too many more shutdowns, because every time that you shut down, you lose the momentum and you create uncertainty. So we don't really want to have those shutdowns. They are costly, but the fact of the matter is that we believe that we have buffers that will enable us to be able to withstand the types of shocks that we are facing. But clearly, a hurricane is a shock of a different order, and therefore, ideally, we would not want to have to undergo that at this point in time when we are dealing with COVID and to some extent the spillover effects of the volcano from St. Vincent.
Addressing the issue of taxes, the central bank governor said the government's focus should be on economic stimulus at this time and not on raising taxes. However, answering questions during his first quarterly economic review for the year yesterday, he made it clear that the imposition of taxes was entirely within the purview of the Minister of Finance.
We're already seeing fiscal measures on the expenditure side, so I assume that your question really is whether or not there will be fiscal measures on the tax side. And in an ideal sense, one does not want to impose new taxes at this point in time, because we want really to be able to stimulate the economy. And that has been the position which we have believed in, that we don't want to raise taxes at this point in time. What government has to be able to do, and that's why I said in my thing that they have to continue to be able to prioritize their expenditures, because there are lots of demands being placed on government. They have their traditional expenditure, and they have the expenditures that are really being driven now by this COVID activity. And we have to be able to improve our collection of taxes to be able to finance as much of this demand as possible, because as I pointed out, last year we were able to get a substantial amount of financing from the international financial institutions. We don't believe that you will get that much financing during the current year.
The Barbados Muslim community has made a sizable donation to relief efforts for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines impacted by the eruptions of the last Soufriere volcano. Speaking on behalf of the community, Ubedullah Hans said that they started collecting items which were handed over to the Barbados Coast Guard about a week ago.
We thank everyone who came forward and who donated, and it's all in a good cause, so thank you again.
Okay, so tell us what was donated.
Well, we've got some rice, we've got oil, cooking oil, toilet paper, and blankets, soaps, and different other stuff.
Okay, when would you reach out to the community?
Well, all of this was done within 1 week of time, and yeah, that's about it.
Is the Muslim community thinking about making any other donations?
Yeah, obviously this is not the last one. We continuously would be doing this here. Whenever a time arises, whenever a need arises to anyone, we are always here from the Muslim community.
Lieutenant Commander Graham Rochford of the Barbados Coast Guard, who thanked the Muslim community for its generous donation, said that the influx of supplies from Barbados over the last few weeks has been overwhelming.
The Barbadian community, the length and the breadth of the Barbadian community have come out to support their brothers and sisters in St. Vincent, and over the past couple of weeks there has been no shortage of assistance to the people of St. Vincent. This will make the third shipment being compiled here at this point in time of relief supplies that will be sent to St. Vincent.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, Grenada's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell adds his voice to continued industrial action by teachers in the country agitating for a pay increase. More in this report from GBN News.
Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell, during Thursday's press conference, said the teachers' actions in initiating a sick-out on Tuesday, which resulted in students being sent home, placed the nation's children in harm's way. He criticized the Grenada Union of Teachers, who he said instructed teachers against informing parents of their plans and giving them the opportunity to make preparations for the welfare of their children.
You know the society we're in. There are pedophiles outside there. We know that. We know they have them outside there. There are people, young children, whose minds are not as developed as others, may find themselves in compromising position with the opposite sex or similar sex, whatever they are. That's a problem. When no parents' guidance are there out there, no support system, anything can happen.
The leadership of the trade union, he said, should have a sense of concern. He said the teachers should not be irresponsible with the safety of students.
I'm calling on our leadership of the trade union, teachers movement, to have a sense of fairness, concern. We don't have a problem with your wish and what you want. This is your right.
And finally, on the international front, U.S. President Joe Biden marked his first 100 days in office on a Thursday with a rally in Georgia. More in this report from CBS News.
While marking his first 100 days tonight, President Biden's now focused on the difficult task ahead, rallying the public behind his new spending plans as congressional Republicans show no signs of cooperating.
There's not a single thing, I mean this from the bottom of my heart, there's not a single thing we can't do when we do it together.
The president's touting success on COVID, with vaccinations topping 143 million and fresh numbers showing the economy's nearly back to pre-pandemic levels. But in nearby Marietta, Georgia, reviews on the president's first 100 days are mixed.
I believe he's doing an excellent job.
I think it's always good when you can take the credit for your predecessor or when you can blame everything on your predecessor. Nationwide, our CBS News poll found viewers of the president's address Wednesday night mostly liked what they saw.
The American Jobs Plan is a blue-collar blueprint to build America. That's what it is.
But Republicans made it clear today they're not impressed with the president's trillions of dollars of ideas.
He is spending us into oblivion, into bankrupting this country.
One sign of hope for the Biden agenda, bipartisan talks got underway today on police reform as George Floyd's family lobbied senators and aides at the White House.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.